Hey everybody, Mark over here at Twanger's Turntable, back for another one. Crack open a cold one. The Coke Zero type of cold one. Hope you're all doing well. Like I said, back for another one, jumping on another thread while I got a bit of time here in the weekend. So let's get going. I've been meaning to do this thread for about a week, or at least a better part of a week. I originally saw it on Rise Buys. Shout out to you, Rise By. Thanks for the shout out in your video. It's Spell May. It's another May inspired video. So, and unfortunately, I can't attach the original link. The thread was initiated by Jacob over at Randora's Musicworld, and he decided to take the video down. So his prerogative. Unfortunately, I can't leave a link to that, but I will leave a link to Rise response to the thread. So essentially, what the thread is, I printed it out. Number one criteria is spell May with bands or artists. Number two, 5 channel shoutouts. Number 3, 5 band artists with the letter M for May. Number 4, 5 bands, artists you would like to meet and greet. Number 5, 5 female bands, artists, or 5 random picks in your collection. So fairly straightforward. Shouldn't take too long. It's a pretty simple one. So let's get to it. I will get to my shout outs when I'm cued to do so. That's the criteria number 2. But criteria number 1 is spell May with bands or artists. So I tried to go as Canadian as I could with this thread because I got to represent. So there are some here that I don't know. I think most of you will be familiar with, but I guess that's all subjective to what you listen to and what you watch. So let's get it going. The first one, starting the month of May, I went with, this is not a we, but I do appreciate you joining me. I'm going to take these out of the sleeve, the shiny sleeve, so it's a little easier to see them. I know the reflection can sometimes be a pain in the ass. So I went with Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush. Yeah, of course, Frank Marino, prodigy guitar player, in that school of Jimi Hendrix. Just an amazing guitar player, and from Montreal, I may add, I believe, where he still lives here today. So yeah, great album. Does a really good cover on here of the Doors tune here, and I'm not a big Doors fan, but Roadhouse Blues. So yeah, I won't get into too much with all these, or I'll be here all freaking day. But Mahogany Rush, that's for M. Next, probably on any given day, but that can sway depending on what I'm listening to. But my favorite from these guys, and April Wine, Stand Back. This is their 4th album, I believe. The second with Jerry Mercer on drums. Always loved this from the time I was a kid. The Whole World's Going Crazy came after this, which is another one of my faves. But yeah, great Canadian act. Rest in peace, Miles Goodwin, who just passed here a little over a year and a half ago. Yeah, so fantastic album. If you've not heard this one, or even if you haven't heard, I can't imagine you haven't heard of April Wine. They did have some mainstream success, even in the US, with Nature of the Beast and whatnot, Harder, Faster, some of their later albums. But this is a fantastic album. So if you're not familiar with April Wine, number 1, check this out. And if you are but not familiar with this album, definitely check it out. It's early April Wine, but it's just so good. And then one that is not Canadian, but it sort of has a Canadian content aspect to it. It's a band called Yazoo, but of course, when this was released in Canada, they had to go with the name Yaz. There was already a band with using that name Yazoo, so to satisfy the lawyers and whatnot, they went with Yaz. And this one is slightly different than the US version, and I think most, but I'm not sure on that. It has Goodbye 70s on this one. No, that's not the one. It has Situation on this one. as opposed to, and I forget what track it is. I'm drawing a blank right now. But anyway, there is one track. The other versions do not feature that song. But it's a great album. I've always dug this. Of course, most that are familiar with Depeche Mode will be familiar with that because it features Vince Clarke, who was with Depeche Mode. Here I am rhyming this off, and I am not even a huge Depeche Mode fan. But I've always dug Yaz, so, and Alice Moyer, just an incredible vocalist. And I am already spending way more time on each one of these than I intended to, but that's just who I am, so I can't really change that. So that's my month of May. You've got Mahogany Rush, you've got April Wine, you've got Yaz. So there you go, May. Number 2, the second criteria, 5 channel shoutouts. This is really tough. This is probably the toughest one because I have so many channels that I really admire and they inspire me and I enjoy watching. In fact, I don't watch them nearly as much as I would like to. It's just time restraints. The first one I went with is one that was new to me. I just watched my buddy in a roundabout way. This is a shout out, but I mention him a lot because he's a good friend and I dig a lot of his stuff. We have a lot in common. My buddy Steve over at A's Valles. My shout out is actually for, something tells me, I'm drawing a blank on his name. I don't know if it's Jack. I don't think it's Jack, but it's at Closer to the Edge. So him and Steve are doing a video of their top 10 double live albums from, I think it was just from the 70s. No, it was, I don't think that was, there was no limitation on it. I think it was just their top 10 double albums. Did I say double live albums? No, double albums. So that was really, I really enjoyed that one. And funny, it's such a vast community. I was not subscribed to his channel. So I am subscribed. So a shout out to Closer to the Edge. Check out his channel if you have not. And then my buddy Vance, the Zepp man, at Zepp Pearl. I'll leave links to these below. These are my shout outs just because I enjoy his channel and his passion for all things Zeppelin over there at the Zepp hangar. It's really enjoy Vance and his content. Again, I don't get to see enough of it, just time constraints. And then Brett over at Headbangers Closet. Similar story. I could say this about all of them. So these are just the 5 shout outs because I had to pick 5. And I had to pick Jacob over at Rendo's Musicworld just because it was originally his thread. The video is gone now, but I want to make sure I showed out Jacob and his channel. He should have more subs. People should go over and sub him up for sure. And then my last one, I haven't had a chance to respond yet, but I just saw this one before I did this one, and it's for Morton. At Morton Asted. He did his 5 Flowers video and I just started to watch it and I seen that he shouted me out in his video. So I will get around to watching that. Morton, thank you. So this is a shout out. That's one of my shout outs is Morton. Great guy over in Norway. He used to spend time between Denmark and Norway. Now his primary residence is in Norway. Just a fantastic guy, very knowledgeable and brings what only he can bring to his channel. He's a fantastic artist. He does these little caricatures and cartoons. Plus, he loves Monty Python. So now for something completely different, we'll move on to criteria 3, 5 bands, artists with M. So again, my buddy over there in Illinois will appreciate this with a little bit of Tommy Bolin on it. Canadian bands debut, Moxie, before Metallica, what they used to refer to as the Black Album. I'm sure there's others, but yeah, Tommy Bolin appears on this, performs most of the guitar solos on, not all, but their debut. And contrary to many misbeliefs, he does not appear on the second Moxie album, just this one. But it's a fantastic album. I was having a discussion about this album. We were talking about Tommy Bolin specifically with my buddy Craig over at Spirit of Vinyl. You need to check this out. If you're starting to dig Tommy Bolin, definitely check this out. The tone on this, the way it sounds, is to me very reminiscent of his tone on what he did with James Gang. So if you like that, you definitely like this. But not to compare the two bands, they are completely different. I'm just talking about Tommy Bolin and his tone on that. So that's number 1 of 5 bands that start with M. Number 2, very Canadian, and I'm not sure how many people will know of these guys outside of our borders. and almost a regional band to go even further. Much more popular on the East Coast than anywhere else. But it's the Minglewood Band, so I grew up with these guys. I mean, at least later on in life, I think they've been around since about 75, 76. This is probably best known for their cover that they did of Can't You See? And I think that's a Marshall Tucker Band tune. And this may be blasphemous for some, but I think Minglewood does a much better job of it. But it's the first, I never heard it any other way until I heard Marshall Tucker much later. So, but it's fantastic. This album is dedicated to the Cape. So those who are not familiar with the Cape, they're talking about Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. So listen to this album, and I think you can, it's almost a microcosm of music from that region. It's fantastic. Good rock and blues based, but it's got that maritime feel to it that's unmistakable. Someone from the Maritimes, that's my take on it anyway. Number 3 out of the M's, I went with another Canadian artist. This could have fit into the female artist as well, but it's Martha and the Muffins. Metro Music. Echo Beach is probably what this is best known for, but I used to really dig this. Back in, when was this? This was 81. Let me put my cheaters on. It certainly would, 1980. So 1980, yeah, 12-year-old punk. But really dug this, and it's got a very relatively early photo of the CN Tower, because it was only built in 75 or 76. But you can see the big shadow of the needle of the CN Tower, which was for many, many years the tallest building, man-made structure in the world. So there's that. But I dig it. There's some good deep tracks on there as well. But yeah. Where are we at? Number 4 for M's. And I went with classic Canadian. Probably best known for Kim Mitchell, but Max Webster were just an incredible band that I think often doesn't get talked about enough. But hey, that's the nature of being a smaller, more regional band. But I think they did have some international success. I've seen other people in other countries talk about Max Webster, but this is a great album. High Class and Board Shoes. I mean, Oh War on here was just, well, the whole thing. I'm singling out Diamonds, Diamonds is another great tune on here. The title track, High Class and Board Shoes. So another great one. If you haven't checked out Kim Mitchell's solo stuff is great as well, but the Max Webster stuff is a little more rockin' to me. They're just a really, really underrated rock band. Used to tour around the country a lot with Rush, and they were actually good buddies. So that's number 5. That was number 5. No, that's number 4. So number 5, the last one for the M's. I went with this one. It's not Canadian, but this one is his second solo effort. The lead vocalist that was once probably best known for his vocals with Screaming Trees. Mark Lanigan also did work with, obviously, Queens of the Stone Age. I keep saying obviously. I'm sorry. Maybe it's not obvious. Only to those that are fans would know that, I'm sure. But yeah, great stuff. Complete departure from what he did with Screaming Trees. As far as presentation, lyrically, I don't know if it's that big of a stretch, but yeah, passed away in 2022. So yeah, rest in peace, Mark Lanigan. So that's it for the bands that start with M. Now, number 4, criteria for 5 bands, artists you like to meet and greet. This is not something that's really my thing. I've never, if I saw, who would I idolize back in the day? Probably even John Bonham or somebody like that. I'm not very likely to approach them. That's just not my bag. I appreciate their music. Don't really want to get involved in their personal life. My wife and I went to Comic-Con one year in Arizona, and she grew up as a huge Star Trek fan, the original Star Trek, William Shatner, and he was there and all that. And but those kind of things, they don't interest me. So I didn't pick 5 that I would like to meet and greet. If I had to do one off the top of my head, they would mostly be drummers anyway, like Nico, The late great Clive Burr and Bonham, if I can meet those. Danny Carey. Geez, just off the top of my head. Matt Cameron. There are so many. I mean, Clem Burke just passed away. Fantastic. Always been an inspiration. Mick Tucker from Sweet. Grew up with him. Daryl Sweet, Nazareth. You know, just these drummers. Kenny Aronoff, I think, is amazing. There's so many. I feel like that's the thing is I can't really pick five. And it's not something that if I had the opportunity to do, I would really be that interested anyway. Bringing it to something more recent, if there was one artist that I would like to meet and greet most of all, it'd be my buddy Mickey. Symptoms of Lunacy. Yeah. So there you go. We got to bring Mickey back into this. He's one of our favorites here in the VC, and yeah, just another guy. If you've not heard, check out his stuff. Yeah, I've got his CDs in the background. You probably can't make them out. Hello, my brother, and Dress the Elephant. Fantastic stuff. So the last and final criteria: 5 female bands, artists, or 5 random picks. So I just went with female artists. One of my favorites. I don't have that many female artists now. I started looking, and although I'm into hard rock and metal, I never really purchased any of the Lita Ford, the Lee Aarons. Just wasn't really my bag. I mean, I appreciate what they do. Lita Ford, I think the best stuff she did was in Runaways. Didn't really care for a lot of her solo stuff. So, you know, I don't have a whole lot to pull from. I like B-52s. I like, you know, Jefferson Airplane, that kind of stuff. Sinead O'Connor, an incredible voice. But I picked 5 here, and all are Canadian. Oh, no, they're not all Canadian. Let me see. Anyway, let's get to it. They're not all Canadian. This one has always been one of my favorites. But yeah, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. This is just a greatest hits compilation. It's fantastic. But one of the first records I ever purchased was by her. I love rock and roll, and I've said that many times. So that's number 1. Number 2, PJ Harvey. You know, something more for maybe some of the younger audience. I don't know. It's more popular in the 90s, but really awesome stuff. And of course, one of my first favorites, Hart and Nancy Wilson. Yeah, just unbelievable vocalist and guitar player. And then this is Canadian. I had to go with the Headpins, with Darby Mills on vocalist. One of the first concert of a real band, I always say, of a real professional band that I ever saw was the Headpins. And yeah, fantastic show. And yeah, the late great Brian Too Loud McLeod there on guitar. And they only put out 3 albums, sadly, before their label got into legal troubles or whatnot. I don't know, went bankrupt, but really good stuff. And then the last but not least, another Canadian, Sash Jordan. Yeah, Tell Somebody. Good stuff. Just good straightforward rockin' band that backed her up, but very blues rock based. If you've not heard it, check them out. I'm not going to leave links to everything. I will just leave links to the shout outs I mentioned and the other stuff. Hey, use this as a reference if you've not heard some of these and check them out. I encourage you to do so because I think they're all great. So I think that covers it. I've got the 5 shout outs. I've got the other criteria. And I am so disappointed that Jacob doesn't have his original video up there anymore. But I do have Rye's video. I'll leave a link to his. Go check out his channel as well. And that's going to do it. That's the other thread that I wanted to jump onto this weekend. Might possibly get a chance to do another 1 or 2, as well as the little shorts I enjoy doing when I have time. But that's going to do it, like I say. So cheers, everyone. Enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope you'll jump on this and present your own version of spelling May and the shout outs, the 5 bands, the meet and greets, and the female artists. It's not a long one to do. It's pretty easy, straightforward. So it was fun. I enjoyed doing it. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I do appreciate you stopping by and watching and spending some time here. Leave a comment if you want. Obviously be respectful, cordial. to everyone, the other commenters as well. So I hope to see you again soon. But until then, take care, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, as I said. Cheers, all.